deleted social media 1300 days ago. This was my life before. Anxious and sad. Oh, wow. Excited when I think about and this is my life now. Wait. Now, some of you may be wondering what the difference is. I'm still hanging out with friends, I'm still going to concerts, and I'm still recording my life. I mean, hello, I'm on YouTube right now. What you don't see is how I've changed on the inside and how these events feel different for me when it comes to experiencing them with versus without social media. Here are 5 small ways that deleting social media has changed my life and how it will change yours too. Hello everyone, my name is Jillian. Welcome back to my channel. I am so grateful to have you here. Let's go ahead and shake hands. If you're new to my channel, everything I talk about has to do with social media and romanticizing a life without it, because as I said in the intro, I deleted my social media 1300 days ago, or 3 years ago, and I just have found that my life has improved in so many countless ways, and I really want to share that with people and maybe inspire other people to go on a similar journey. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, go ahead and subscribe and stick around. We're having a great time over here this summer, having a little offline summer. It's great. But as I said in the intro, this video is going to be a discussion of 5 small ways that deleting social media has changed my life. So maybe things that you wouldn't necessarily see on the outside, but they're things that have really affected me on the inside in such strong ways for how minuscule the changes are. So if you're interested in that and maybe want to have some change in your life as well, keep watching. First things first, I crave normalcy. I am an older member of Gen Z. I was born in 2001, I'm 23. So the first half of my childhood was technology free. And I mean, the technology that I did have, it didn't take over my life. You know, I had Pop Tropica and Starfall and Minecraft and video cameras that I would use to make funny videos with, and I had Video Star, but nothing that was vying for my attention in the way that social media vies for your attention. And that didn't come into my life until I hit middle school, which is when I really started getting into YouTube and lifestyle YouTubers and all the saturated content and the perfection. And despite all of that, I was always the type of kid who didn't really want a normal life. I always craved attention, I think. Like, I wanted a spectacular, grand life. And the older I got and the more that social media was introduced into my life, and especially influencer culture, where all these other young women who were my age were getting fame and fortune and followers and going on all these crazy trips and having these amazing experiences and moving out of their house at 17 years old and like doing all these crazy things, it took something that was already inside of me and made it so much worse. And I think that we're seeing that a lot with other members of Gen Z who don't want to work a normal job because they'd rather be social media famous. Long story short is that I grew up craving fame and attention and then was handed Instagram, YouTube, and then it got even worse with TikTok, Vine, like all these ways for people to get famous like that. And then it becomes not just a dream, but an obsession. And I feel like, again, like you see it so much with young people now. They don't want to have normal lives. They want to be Instagram famous. I mean, look at Hawk to a Girl. Dropped everything and look, it's over already. You know what I'm saying? Now, deleting social media isn't going to change who I am on some pivotal deep level. There is still that side of me that craves a grand, spectacular life. But now that I'm not constantly being bombarded by other 23-year-olds who are going tripping with Tarte and who are living in big mansions in Hollywood and like doing all these crazy things, Now that I'm no longer being bombarded by that, I'm no longer viewing that as normal. What I'm viewing as normal is what is in my everyday life. My friends, my family, people I used to go to school with. And I'm not gonna lie, yes, that comparison is still there, but it is on a much smaller scale. Because I'm not gonna try and pretend like comparison is a thing that was created when social media was born. It's not. It's always been there. It always will be there. But I think it gets worse when you're being, again, bombarded by so much grandeur. And a lot of it is not as amazing as it seems. That's what social media is. It is a marketing tool, and the product is people and their lives. Like, have you ever ordered a product like as seen on TV and it's not what you thought it was when you get it in the mail? Like, it looks great on TV, but you get it and it's not as cute. It's the same with what these influencers are posting, and it's the same with what these celebrities are posting as well. It's not real. And so I say all that to say that since I have deleted social media, I no longer view that as real. I no longer view that as something normal, something that I should aspire to or need to have in my life. What I instead crave is normalcy. I'm no longer filming things with the hope that it's gonna go viral, or I'm no longer filming myself at concerts with the thought of, this is so aesthetic, it's gonna look so good on TikTok, hashtag FYP. Is that even a thing anymore? Do people still do hashtag FYP? I don't know. But I'm just capturing things to capture them for myself. The second small way that my life has changed since deleting social media is probably the most important one on this entire list, and that is that I sleep better. Right before I deleted social media, I was looking into getting tested for ADHD because I could not concentrate, I could not get my brain to slow down, and I could not sleep. I could not fall asleep to save my life, and even when I would fall asleep, it was constant tossing, turning, waking up in the middle of the night. I never had a good night's sleep for months and months and months and months, and this was definitely in the height of my TikTok usage, and I was just driving myself crazy. Now, I delete social media. And it's not an immediate fix. I've said this in a video before. You don't go from 10 years of a habit and learning traits that coincide with that habit to getting rid of that habit, and then all of a sudden all that stuff is gone. Like, you're just clean and cleansed and you're fine. No. 10 years of social media equates to, so far, 3.5 years of healing and relearning things. I'm still healing and I'm still relearning things, like how to sleep at night. It took a couple months for my brain to chill out and to be okay with monotasking and not constantly being stimulated. And by the time my brain was able to calm down, I was able to get some sleep. And because I was able to get some sleep, my skin got better, my hair got better, because I went through a phase of, like, I had bad skin, my hair was falling out, I had no energy, I had stomach problems, and I'm not saying all of this stems from sleep or a lack thereof, but sleep is very important. And all of those things started slowly getting better as my sleep got better. I got more productive, more creative, and I was an overall nicer, happier person when I didn't wake up on the wrong side of the bed anymore. So if you want to sleep better, guys, you know what you need to do. This third one has honestly been the most fun experience that I've had since deleting social media, and that is the fact that I am uninfluenced. So no longer am I giving into aesthetics and trends and assigning myself all of these little niches like social media tells me and tells you that you have to do. Over the past 3.5 years, I have been on the craziest journey of self-discovery of my entire life. I have talked about this at length in several videos, but I have been able to find what I like on my own, which I find to be ironic because I feel like Gen Z is a generation that is really intense when it comes to finding themselves and identity and like who I really am. But social media sells you who you are. And so how do you really know if that's you or not? And that's not something that I would have believed. Like, if me 3.5 years ago was watching a video like this and someone said what I just did, you don't really like the things that you think you like, I would be like, that's stupid. Of course sage green is my favorite color, and of course I'm a cottagecore queen, and of course I like painting my nails like this because I like Harry Styles and that's what he does. And of course I like dyeing my hair this color because that's what Kendall Jenner's hair looks like and I love her. But is that really true? Because over the course of the past 3 years, I have learned so many things. It started out with me realizing I don't actually like that. Like, no, sage green is not my favorite color. And no, I don't actually like that song that my favorite artist posted on their story that one time. I just felt like I had to like it. And maybe if that wasn't even the case, subconsciously it was. And when it comes to aesthetics, I remember that I would constantly be on Pinterest, like cottagecore aesthetic, or I would do that little trend that people were doing where they would type in their first name and then put core after it, like Jillian Core. And I remember I would get so upset if it didn't look like what I wanted it to look like, because like I felt like I had to mold myself to fit whatever that was because that's what Pinterest told me I was. Or if I didn't like a certain aspect of an aesthetic, I would freak out and be like, I've got to find an aesthetic that fits me exactly. Well, there's not gonna be one because we're humans and we're not meant to be in a box. So since deleting social media, I have found out that I am a myriad of things. I love old music. I love Queen and David Bowie and artists like that, but I also love Tucker Wetmore and Zach Top and Pat Green and Robert Earl Keen. Like, I love country music. And at the same time, I still love Taylor Swift and Harry Styles and Gracie Abrams and Role Model and Sabrina Carpenter and Olivia Rodrigo. Like, I can be so many things, and that is okay. And I think that since realizing that I can be more than one thing, like one day I can wear puka shells and Birkenstocks and dress like I'm a pogue, and the next day I can dress like I'm going to Yellowstone Ranch to hang out with Beth and Rip. And it's fine. And in doing that, in finding who I really am, and portraying that out into the world instead of shoving it down because it doesn't fit my aesthetic, I have made so many more friends than little me ever thought she could have. I have multiple friend groups now, and I just feel so loved and accepted by these people, and I think that's because I had to love and accept myself first for who I really truly am. Because people can't connect to you if they're connecting to a brand or a facade. And I think brand is a very apt word to use because that is what we're ultimately doing. We're branding ourselves because social media teaches you that everything is marketable, including yourself. And I just think that's a really toxic mindset, and people will be turned away from that. They will be turned off by that. So if you're someone who struggles to make friends, yes, I'm sure it does have something to do with maybe you're shy or you have a hard time connecting to people because same girl, but also people will be drawn to authenticity. And until you can do that, you're gonna have an even harder time. On to number 4. People pleasing is so out. The basis of social media is really to share your life with other people. And you know, some people will be like, it's my digital scrapbook. I don't do this to please anybody. Okay, but why do you need a digital scrapbook? You know, people will be like, I use Instagram just to capture my memories, blah, 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 blah. Like, how else am I supposed to do that? Okay, well, why isn't your camera roll enough? Do you not just get joy out of going back and scrolling through your camera roll and seeing old pictures and videos? What's wrong with printing out the photos and scrapbooking them or putting them in photo albums like our parents used to do? To me, I think that's more special. Because I personally love being able to physically hold a memory in my hands and being able to hear the crinkle of the photo album pages as I'm flipping through it. And I picture sitting on the couch with my kids one day and being able to look through something like that, a hard physical copy of my life. So there is an element, whether you accept that or not, there is an element of wanting to show off when it comes to posting on social media. Like, you want to show people that your life is cool and worth paying attention to. And I get that. Been there, done that. But ultimately, I feel like that is a form of people pleasing and also something that I call people spiting, where you do stuff to spite people instead of please them. Basically a big middle finger. Again, it's all subconscious. That's the thing about social media, is that it tricks you into thinking one thing, but really you're doing it for another reason. I have had people in my comment sections be like, yeah, so if you deleted social media, why are you still filming yourself? Why do you still film yourself at concerts? Why do you still take pictures? Am I not allowed to live? Like, this brain is gonna expire in like 60 years, and I'm not gonna remember what I did on a random Tuesday bowling with my friends. I wanna remember it. That's why people just can't seem to comprehend anymore that capturing memories does not have to have the connotation of sharing it or like main character syndrome. Like you can, look. And now I will have this photo of me filming this video forever, and no one else is gonna see it. Besides y'all just now. But no one else is gonna see it, like, and it's fine, you know? And now guys, on to the 5th and final chapter, and I'm sure this is the one that people are not really gonna believe, but that's okay. Anxiety does not know me. And that is not totally true. I am somewhat of an anxious person by nature. However, since getting off of social media, I feel like I have had to face my anxiety and I have had to learn to understand it, whereas before, social media kind of gave me an excuse not to because it was something I could easily run away and hide into. It was like crawling into a little digital hole where I could watch book talk videos and edits of my celebrity crushes and other people talking about their anxiety and making it out to be something that was cute and quirky and relatable. And I think that to some degree that is well-intentioned. I personally can't help but wonder if I never heard the word anxiety at like 12 years old, and if I had never seen it the way it was positioned on like Tumblr and stuff like that, if I would have ever had as much anxiety as I did when I got older, because I was constantly labeling myself. I have anxiety, I have social anxiety, like that's why I can't do anything by myself, I blah blah blah, I can't. And you know, maybe that was true, and maybe it is still true, but since deleting social media, I have had to face my anxiety because I have now had something to distract myself with. So I've had to sit in silence, I have had to journal it out, I've had to figure it out, and I've had to change my self-talk. I am not anxious. I feel anxious, and that is temporary. If I tell myself I am anxious, then that becomes something that is permanent, that becomes something that is a facet of who I am, and it's inescapable. But if I tell myself that I feel anxious, that is just temporary. That is just right now, and I will overcome it, and I will be okay, and I will be stronger for having done that. Going out and doing stuff alone, or having to make a phone call to like at the doctor's office, or having to go get an oil change by myself. Things that would have seemed scary before and that I would have tried to hide from doing. I've not had the ability to do that. I've just had to talk myself through it, and I've just had to go do it. And every single time, it's easier than the last. Until all of a sudden, you don't feel anxious about it anymore. You're stronger, you feel better. And like, I'm not trying to say that anxiety is not real or that it doesn't exist or that it's this easy for everybody, because there are different levels of anxiety. So please don't feel like I am trying to diminish whatever you might be going through. I'm just talking from a personal perspective, and maybe if you see yourself in what I'm saying, it will inspire you to ditch social media, because the things that used to scare me and make me feel anxious, they don't anymore. Like I said, I think it's because I no longer have a constant feed of enablers online and then an escape. So now, with all that being said, let's try this again. I deleted social media 1,300 days ago. This is what my life looked like before. Anxious and sad. Oh, wow. Excited when I think about and this is what my life looks like now. Wait. I hope after everything that I've discussed with you guys that maybe you do see a little bit of a difference. Maybe my skin looks healthier, my eyes look brighter, maybe I seem a little bit less encumbered and I'm freer and less stiff, and maybe I'm just living more in the moment. And even if you can't see the difference, that's okay, because still I see the difference, and more importantly, I feel the difference, and it's not really about anyone needing to see it anyway. I feel so much better, and I'm learning more and more about who I am every single day, and I feel so much more alive. And that is all that I wish for anyone who's watching this video. Comment down below if you guys have had any similar experiences like this. Like, if you've deleted social media, comment 5 ways that your life has changed since then. Or if you're wanting to delete social media, comment down below 5 ways that you're hoping your life might change if you do so. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it. That would really help me out and help me to kind of spread this message about smarter digital use, or maybe no digital use, but I'm not totally naive. So this is the world we live in, but we just gotta learn to maybe be the change. I don't know, it's so cheesy to say. But yeah, anyway, love you guys. I will see you in my next video. Bye!